Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheatle has been summoned to appear before a House Oversight Committee to explain what took place. Crooks was flagged by authorities for acting suspiciously an hour before the assassination attempt and was spotted on that roof 20 minutes before he opened fire. A roof, as I say, that police were inside that building. Any way you slice it, it was a security failure of the most mammoth proportions. Here's Kimberly being chased at the Republican convention.
This is exactly what you were doing today on the call.
This was an assassination attempt. You owe the people answers. You owe President Trump answers.
And look, as Bill pointed out, the way that the agency has handled these questions has left it the conspiracy theories allowed to fester. And they're everything from this is an inside job to the Iranians being behind it all. I mean, look, Evelyn, some of those don't add up for me. I mean, why get a 20-year-old with manic depressive disorder, a major depressive disorder, to conduct a hit? A very difficult hit, I would say. You have more experience on this with your background in the police force. But what's your feeling about this all now, a week on?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned conspiracy theories, because at the moment, that's exactly what's happening. But you have it on both sides of the fence. On one side of the fence, you have people saying, you know, it's an inside job. People wanted Trump assassinated. The Secret Service let it happen. And then on the other side, you have Democrats and you have more left-sided people saying, Trump staged it, Trump faked it. And what does this tell you? Because regardless of what you look at, you have to ask, why are both sides coming to the conclusion that none of this makes sense? It's because it doesn't, and because it shouldn't have happened. And so when you look at that, you have to say there's obviously a lot of issues here that need to be delved through. There's a lot of questions that need answering. But from a law enforcement perspective, this never should have happened. It's a monumental failure. I said this last week when I spoke about it, that there's only two options here. And the option is that it was known about, which we don't have evidence. We have conspiracy theories at the moment. And sure, I'm not saying, you know, that all of those might be necessarily wrong. We don't know yet. But it's either that or a monumental stuff-up that never should have happened. There was this particular shooter was flying a drone around the entire thing, like well before the event had even begun. Like you said, I think the Secret Service came out and said it's too dangerous for law enforcement officers to be on the roof. Well, is it more dangerous than them standing in front of the president to get shot by a bullet? Yeah. I don't think so. That's a cop-out.
Yeah, when it comes to conspiracy or cock-up, it is always a cock-up. And all these conspiracy theories fall over at the first hurdle, and the hurdle is about that high. Firstly, if you were really going to take out Donald Trump, you would get this 20-year-old kid from the local with no record.
Hey, look, he actually had a perfect shot. Let me just say, it was actually a very difficult shot, and he did a really good job. It was the illegal immigrants who saved Trump. And now you might think this is weird, but Biden's illegal immigrants saved Trump. Would you believe it? Because he looked up.
You say that because he pointed to it.
He looked up at the screen in a split second because he was showing illegal immigrants.
And who said, OK, Donald, he's about to fire now. You've got the message. OK, turn your head, and he's going to fire just a quarter of an inch next to your brain, okay?
It's absurd.
I was in on it. I know it was Donald Trump.
No, but hang on a second. Let me just say this. It was a very difficult shot. I do a lot of, I won't say it, but I have had a lot of experience with firearms. It's a very difficult...
a farmer as well as being a former policeman.
All legally. All legally. But let me just say, it's a very difficult shot. The angle of it, plus the crowd, you've got to factor in wind. Like, it was a very difficult shot. And had he been a little bit better, he would have gone through that. It was literally, as Trump said, by the grace of God, that he turned his head at the right moment and it
was less than a quarter of an inch from hitting his brain.
It was millimetres. Millimetres from a civil war.
He'd also taken multiple shots previously. It's like JFK. Again, the handling of the investigation is almost as bad as the actual act itself when it comes to...
But there was a lot of planning. That's the point. There was a lot of planning for him to get as far as he did. And that's a very monumental, mammoth stuff up that he got that far.
The entire Secret Service in on it. They just turned a blind eye to it. It is the local cops who flagged him as suspicious but not a person of interest. Was he in on the conspiracy theory? It's madness.
The nature of the cock-up was that the head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheatle, didn't want him killed. but I don't think she would have minded a lot if he was.
Yeah, that's true.
For 2 years,
I
they
don't
knocked
think any of
back
the
an
Democrats
application
would
to have more guards.
Yes.
2 of his bodyguards were women shorter than him, so the head shot was still available.
But that's
that's
ridiculous as well. Because if he gets killed, she loses. Her job's already on the line, and he survived, and he's going to become president. If he gets killed, she's gone.
She needs to look at the end of the day, like whether you wade into all of the conspiracy theories or whatever it is, Evelyn, I think you've summarised it best when you say, look, it's one of 2 options. It was either an inside job or it's a catastrophic failure from the security.
There's no other option for anything else.
Well, there really isn't any room to move on that. But the question for me, the most important one now, remains what happens going forward now for Kimberly Cheatle, right, as the director of the Secret Service. They were right to chase her at the Republican convention. And as one of the women rightly pointed out, the Congresswoman, she said, we deserve answers. Trump deserves answers as to how and why this was allowed to happen.
It's a quota, that's why.
She's either sacked now or she's sacked on January 20th by the new president.
But this is a problem.
She's got to go. I think either way, she has to go. And this, ridiculous move when it comes to DEIs to achieve 30% women in there, you know what? DEIs, in whichever context you want to talk about, do not have a place when it comes to life or death.
No.
Right? The people that deserve to be in these positions are the ones that are going to stop you from getting killed, ultimately, right? So that's what you need to talk about.
I saw it all the time,
and why doesn't it work? But it's happening right across the country if you want to broaden the scope. I mean, it's occurring at every corporation, in all of these organisations where you think, all right, you know what, enough is enough. We've reached a point now where this is the perfect example.